is because of these ones here. Mr. Speaker, here I am. I have a speech from their Vice President at the time, Dr. Guy Scott. Dr. Guy Scott speaking, and I'll lay it on the table, speaking about how impartial the office of the DC must be, and that is a necessary office. It is here, and he quoted the Constitution at that time, which has now since changed. Okay? Mr. Speaker, it is me here who has a small caption of how a Lukulu PFDC picked a gun and shot at our member in a campaign in Sichiri. It is us who said the job of the DC has changed. It is not functioning the manner that it was established for. It was us in 2012 who said, if this is how it's going to be, we better remove this office. When you have a bad government, Mr. Speaker, when you have a wrong government, it's dangerous to be right. Mr. Speaker, we have policemen who shot people here at the High Court. They're still walking the street. They shot our people, a policeman, a commissioner of police, and I'm giving an example of now in a constitutional office. Should we have said, let's abolish the police? Should we have said, let's abolish the police because there was a bad government? Let us take heed, Mr. Speaker, about the things that we bring here. Even the movers of the motion, these two, can never go to their constituencies and explain government policy because they don't believe in us. They do not. We believe in ourselves. And decentralization, which they are humping around here, is not the subject at hand. It's not the subject at hand, Mr. Speaker. The subject at hand is the dissolution of the office of the district commissioner.
There's a point of
since
order.
the advanced
Honorable Minister,
decentralization,
there's a point of order by the Honorable Member for Chama South. I can see him here. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I need to be protected. Honorable Speaker, I stand on a serious point of order in pursuant to our Article 65. The information provided on the floor of this House should not only be factual, but also verifiable. The Honorable Minister for Local Government, the minister that I admire so much and respect because of his hard work, the Minister for Livestock is passing running comments, Honorable, and I need to be protected. As stated, accused us here on the left, Honorable Speaker, you should understand that the entire country is watching as we speak. Honorable Member, avoid, you are debating yourself.
Yes, I'm laying the background and the importance of this point of order. Everyone is watching, Honorable Speaker. If the minister is referring to say those who are seated on the left, he simply means all of us here that we don't believe and trust in what the UPND government is doing. And yet we are part of this government. Honorable Speaker, I want the minister to understand that we are part of your government. What defines government is the legislature where all of us belong. My point of order is the Honorable Minister, in order to insinuate that we here on the left are very segregative in whatever is happening in our constituencies. We first look at people on partisan line. When I can lay the proof on the table, Honorable Speaker, that in my constituency I know, and also constituencies of many others, CDF committees, ward development committees were formulated by DCs, not members of parliament.
who are appointed by the president. It's very, very important that the nation should know that us on the left here, my Honorable Speaker, when it comes to implementation of government programs, we don't look at faces.
Honorable member,
Is
you are
he in
debating.
order
You
to
are debating.
misinform? Is he in order, Honorable Speaker, to misinform the public out there that us here on the left, very innocent members of parliament, working with this government, are segregative in carrying out of our duties? I seek your serious ruling, Honorable Speaker.
Order. I think what the Honorable Minister meant when he said what the minister, now I'm making a ruling and then you are on top of your voices. What the minister meant was that when he referred to this side, I think he meant that the opposition. He said the left, so I think that's what the minister said. No, honorable member for Matero. Yes. If you've got something to say, you've got a proper channel to use. You have to indicate, then I'll call upon you. But now I'm passing my ruling, and then you are confronting my ruling. That's transgression of this high order. So what am I trying to say? The minister, when he said these people this side, he meant people from the opposition, I guess. Yes. May the minister continue.
Thank you for that ruling, Mr. Speaker. Let me also thank the MP for Chama South. I got it right, for the kind words and for the admiration. But I want to confirm to you today, here and now, that when it comes to working for the Zambian people, we are never in a relationship of mutual admiration. As far as we are concerned, we have our policies. Don't hijack them. You had your chance to do this. Allow us to function. Allow us to deliver to the people. Those of you who come from the original PF, as a matter of fact, if the founding father, King Cobra, were to wake up and hear you agitating for the abolishment of the office that he recreated, I'm sure he would collapse immediately and maybe whip you. That's what I think would happen. PF has been adulterated so much that people have started dreaming. How come you don't want us to govern when we got the mandate from the people? You do not want us to you want us to leave government to yourselves to continue undermining us. No. It will not happen over my dead body. Yes. It simply won't happen. All you need to do is to say to us, who were privileged to be given the mandate to govern, to say, our DCs that you gave us may be wayward. That is a fair comment. Yes. If the DC is wayward, that's why we are here. We should be able to say the things that Honorable Mongandu said, to tell the DC that the MP must be respected. Yeah. But don't unclothe yourself of that respect by bringing things that are not doable. You want to create a vacuum in governance? No. Look at you.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Can we have some order in this house?
Yes.
Can we have some order in this house? Can we have some order in this house?
You want to sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Mr. Speaker, the time is clicking. I'm losing time. I'm losing time. What's wrong with that? We have been running you. We have lost time. You must reverse my time.
Order. Order. Honorable member. Let's observe order.
Order.
The Honorable Minister, let's avoid emotional expressions. that would order. I think as we debate, Honorable Minister, let's avoid emotional expressions that would evoke emotions on the other side. As you are stating things that are quite factual, so let's try to be order as you are debating, Honorable Minister. Let's avoid statements that are quite provocative in nature to ensure that this House has tranquility at all given times. So you can continue debating.
I take your wise counsel always. I want the colleagues to look at us do things that they failed to do. Even as they walk out, it is important to know that it is a good thing to have the gift of social shame. And I'm not mincing my words. There's wisdom, Mr. Speaker. There is a lot of wisdom, Mr. Speaker, in having the gift of social shame. Bemba said,
Honorable Minister, time is up.
No, I ate into my 30 minutes, 30 seconds, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, you can take your seat. Order. Order. I put the question.
Who is going to?
The Honorable Member of Rumezi, you can wind up debate.
Mr. Speaker, permit me to mention that envy is a declaration of inferiority complex. I repeat, envy is a declaration of inferiority complex. Little did I know that our colleagues, when they embedded it in the Constitution, manifesto that they will abolish the office of district commissioners, they were only envious of the previous governments. Little did I know, Mr. Speaker, that in Arabic there is a word called haya. Haya meaning shame. A human being's quality is that of having shame. We should have shame. Mr. Speaker, a human being should have shame. It's one of the serious qualities of a human being. You cannot write in your own document that brought you into government and backtrack, and today you speak with your heads high. And I know, Honorable Jamba, you referred to me as a young man when you were rebutting my thoughts. Everyone in us here shaves their pubic hair. We are elders. We cannot continue on this trajectory, thinking that you will undermine our thoughts and submissions. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, withdraw the word pubic hair.
That's an insult.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
No, we cannot have such kind of insults in here. No. Enough is enough, Mr. Speaker. No. Enough is enough. No.
Order. There is a point of order by Honorable Member for Mwembeshi.
You mentioned what you mentioned. And even Muto, Amujitonga Oyambi.
Madam, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member who stood when I was listening to him winding up debate.
Mr. Speaker, the insult which he has actually uttered before this House, Mr. Speaker, is unpalatable. I'm even fearing to talk about it in my language. How can he say that everyone here is shaving what? What did he say? And you are allowing such a thing, Mr. Speaker? He said shaving public hair. How can he say such a thing? Mr. Speaker, is he in order to insult us? The entire Zambians. How can he be, is he in order? I seek your serious ruling, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I reserve my ruling on this issue. Order. Honorable members, why are you deliberately behaving in a manner that is not quite honorable? Huh? It's very saddening and disappointing. Okay. I was just rendering my ruling on the point of order raised by the honorable member for Mwembeshi against the honorable member for Lumezi. I reserve my ruling, and accordingly, a ruling shall be rendered at a later date. May the honorable member continue.
Mr. Speaker, anatomical has never been an insult. Mr. Speaker, permit me to make my submissions as I wind up this debate. We cannot be preaching prudent financial management of resources. On one hand, we're encouraging wastage of resources when we don't have medicines in our schools. Your own members, Mr. Speaker, behind the walls of Parliament complain that they don't have enough funds to run around Lusaka. And today we want to pretend that we are managing, we have prudent financial resources. Where is the prudence? With such wastage of expenses. Yesterday we heard how the people of Kalau do not have insulin. And then today we want to be hypocrites. Or maybe, Madam Vice President, I know you are here. Take judicial notice. Do not be comforted by the people you've given positions and to make you think that they're explaining the position of your government to the masses. Some people are doing so purely because you've given them a certain position. And there are some people that are so principled that will stand to your face and tell you, we mean well for President Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Speaker, it's not everyone, and we know it in our hearts of hearts. There are some people that are principled, and they'll speak because they love the country, and they want the president to succeed. Here, I even congratulate the president for not doing reshuffles. Mr. Speaker, I'm not trying to look for a ministerial job because I know I'll become the head of state after President Hakainde Hichilema. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. I call upon our honor, the Vice President, to state government position on this matter. Yes, winded up debate. Yes. Huh? Oh, eh. Yeah. Hello. Order. I put the question. The question is that this House urges the government to abolish the position of district commissioner. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. No. The noes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Honorable members, the noes have it. The question is negative. Order. A division is called. Ring the bells. Hmm?
Means the voting hasn't been conclusively done. So shortly, members of parliament will be voting on the motion which was moved by Mr. Munia Zulu, who is area member of parliament for Lumezi, abolish position of district commissioner, that this house urges the government to abolish the position of district commissioner. And this motion was seconded by Nalolo member of parliament, Mr. Wamunyima Imenga. So after 4 minutes or so, the members of parliament will be voting. Claudette, let's look at some of the members that have debated this motion so far. We heard the honorable member of parliament from Mwembeshi, and this is Mr. Jamba Machila. We also had Kamfinsa member of parliament. We had Kafulafuta member of parliament, Mr. Geoffrey Mulebwa, and Kamfinsa member of parliament that happens to be Mr. Christopher Kangombe.
Also debating this private member's motion was Luene MP, Mr. Anakoka, Mr. Banda of Petauke Central, Mr. Harry Kambon of Kalongo Central, Mr. Stephen Kampyongo of Shiwangand. Those are just some of the members that actually added their voice to a motion that has been moved by Lumezi Member of Parliament, Mr. Munia Zulu, titled Abolish Position of District Commissioner. That the House urges the government to abolish the position of District Commissioner. So members of Parliament will be voting electronically in a short while. A division has been called, so there are some members who are against the motion, others are for the motion. So after the voting, we'll get to know whether this motion will be adopted or whether it's going to pass or not.
And after the voting is done, the Honorable Mr. Speaker will be able to announce the results based on the votes that my colleague talked about. That will be done electronically, and the House will start considering the motion of supply, urging the House to resolve into Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023, together with the annual borrowing plan, which was presented to the National Assembly in September 2022. For now, we'll cross back to the floor of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, I wish to bring to your attention that you've actually already ruled on this motion. You ruled that the question has been resolved in the affirmative. It's therefore unprocedural to proceed to the vote. I wish to submit, Mr. Speaker, because that position, your position, will not change. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. I think you heard me after I read like that. I came back, I said,
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I seek your ruling because you've already made the ruling that there's a division has been called.
Honorable members, the bells are ringing.
The doors are closed.
You are just bad losers. Bye-bye, polio.
Bye. Good night.
Polio Maritas.
Kukosa.
Mambo ikapwira 4 years.
Order. I don't know why they're even walking out because I said the question has been negative. So I don't know, maybe they are doing it out of malice, but that's the one thing. Close the bar, clear the lobby, and lock the doors. The House will now vote electronically using the Bosch multimedia unit. So please log in to the system. Have we all logged? When you hear the paging sound, the vote has opened, and the voting screen is displayed on your microphone unit. Select the present key. On top, the right side of your screen, you see the words, please cast your vote. Select one of the options, yes, no, or abstain. Once you have selected one of the options, you will see the words vote has been cast on the right side of the screen. When you hear the second paging sound, the vote will close after 1 minute. You have just voted. The results are as follows. The yes, 0. I think we can see from here. I think the no's we can see from the red, 65. The abstain, 2. The no's have it. The question is negative. The clerk will now read the order of the day.
Supply motion of 30th September, resumption of debate.
No, because I'm supposed to be here, young man.
Order. When business was adjourned yesterday, Tuesday, 4th October 2022, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning that the House do now resolve into Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023, with the annual borrowing plan presented to the National Assembly in September 2022. Any further debate? Welcome back. I'm sure you've had a cup of tea outside. But it's good that you are back. Business continues. The honorable member of the honorable member of Chisari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to debate this budget speech. Mr. Speaker, I first wish to also thank the Madam Speaker, who yesterday showed a motherly heart in wanting to, when he asked if I need her assistance in sorting out the Tanzania-Zambia impasse. Mr. Speaker, I wish to say that I greatly appreciate that offer, though I may not necessarily need it. What I need is just the protection of your office from the Minister of Water, who has been calling me that teach me on how to penetrate through Tanzania and neighboring countries. But I've told him, Mr. Speaker, that I am not into such habits. I was just a victim of circumstances who was poisoned unknowingly at the bar. Mr. Speaker, getting back to the speech, the budget speech by the Minister of Finance, Mr. Speaker, the first issue that I would like to talk about is that my expectation is that their budget speech should flow with the presidential directive, should flow with the presidential policy pronouncements. What am I talking about, Mr. Speaker? When the president came to open parliament on 9th August last month, the president, he informed this house and the nation that his administration has prioritized agriculture, mining, tourism, and manufacturing as key drivers to achieving transformation, economic transformation, as well as job creation. The president further identified 4 enablers in the name of energy, transport and logistics, information and communication technology, as well as research technology, research and development. Those are the enablers that the president said he identified as the ones that are going to be used in achieving this transformation, economic transformation agenda. Now, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the budget speech by the minister, you will agree with me that yes, the first enabler, which is energy, was taken care of in his speech. The second enabler, transport and logistics, was taken care of in his speech. The third enabler, information and communication technology, was taken care of in his speech. However, the minister failed to take care of one very important aspect of research and development. The minister was very mute. What I do not understand is if he has no regard or he does not see the importance of research and development, but we see it to be important. And when the president talked about it here in this house, I thought that the president meant well. But alas, I have seen that the Minister of Finance failed to provide for research and development. And I think it's not too late. He can always find a way of how he can take care of this very important enabler.
There is a point of order by Honorable Member of Ron, for Ron.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've never stood on a point of order from the time I came into this House. I stand on a very serious point of order, Mr. Speaker, for simply exercising the rights as the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ron, representing the people of Ron. Mr. Speaker, is the Honorable Member for Malole, Honorable Karimi, in order to start insulting me because of the manner that I debated, calling me Poppy, Ulimbwa, Tina Kuponona, Tawakwata Mano, Kabieko Kuskuru Yosambirire. Is in order, Mr. Speaker, before I react? I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, all these people here heard the sentiments from the Honorable Member for Malole. I need your serious ruling, Mr. Speaker, before I start jumping in this House.
Thank you. Order. Order. I reserve my ruling. My ruling will be rendered later on. And then some of you members, you try to talk on top of your voices. In this house, you can't be a star. Let's try to behave in an honorable manner. It doesn't pay. I know some of you could be used wasting people's money, people's time, but I think this is an honorable house. We are here, we are paid by people. This is taxpayers' money. When we are here, there should be value for the hours that we spend here. As Parliament, we've got 3 major roles that we are to do. We are here to legislate and to represent, which is a very key role, and also oversight. But the function of representative, I don't think we are. Those people that voted for us, I think, in a way, they should be disappointed. Because among reasons that you were voted for is because you were exemplary and you were humble to the voters, the picture that you portrayed. If this is the picture that they saw during campaign, I don't think some of you should have been voted. So let's ensure that we should become honorable as we are. You can't be a star in bad language, you know, using language of Harvard. I think that is not good. So let's ensure that at all times we are quite honorable. This is an honorable house. We inspire a lot of people out there. That's why we are 167 thereabout against a population of 19 million. So we are one of the most privileged people in this country. The time that we spend here has to be valuable enough. This is not a playhouse. Playhouse is somewhere where they do some plays near former local government there. This is parliament. May the honorable member continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On page 7 of the speech, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Speaker, he informed this House that the stock of domestic debt, that is treasury bills and government bonds, increased by 5.3% to 203.9 billion as at end of August from 192.9 billion. Mr. Speaker, if you go to page 49, you will see a schedule of total financing where it is revealing that the amount that we are going to borrow as a country in 2023 is going to amount to about 53.9 billion. And also, from that 53.9 billion, 15 billion is going to be borrowed locally. That will be domestic debt. Now, the UPND campaigned on the premise that they are going to reduce borrowing. What has actually happened is that they have not fulfilled that promise. Otherwise, they have, of course, started borrowing on concessional rates, which is applaudable. But when we come to domestic borrowing, it has serious repercussions. One, this domestic borrowing, it is not on concessional rates. It is on market rates. And the problem with too much government involvement in domestic borrowing, it is going to result in the crowding effect, which is going to disadvantage the private sector, because the private sector will not be attractive to the financial institutions, as they will prioritize to lend money to the government. So, which in effect is going to work against their budget theme, which is stimulating economic growth for improved livelihoods, because the private sector is the one that is supposed to help us to achieve this theme of economic growth. We cannot do it as government alone. Mr. Speaker, the other issue, the minister on page 55, he stated that he further proposes to reduce the lowest marginal rate to 4% from 5.5%. That is on the mining tax regime. This measure on its own, it is going to result in the revenue loss, which is estimated at 2.8 billion. Mr. Speaker, last year, in his budget speech, the minister made mineral royalty tax deductible, or deductible for tax purposes, and that resulted in the revenue loss of about 3.2 billion, annual revenue loss. If we add that 3.2 billion for last year, because even this year it means that that loss is going to be there. So if we add that 3.2 billion to 2.8 billion, which will be a revenue loss because of the bad mining policy, the tax policy, it is going to give us a total revenue loss of about 6 billion. This is being done on the pretext that those mining companies that we are giving these tax incentives, they are going to help us to increase the production of copper. Now, what the minister should have done, he should have at least informed us this year by how much percentage that incentive that he gave last year, by how much percentage has the production of copper increased this year as a result of that tax measure, that incentive he gave last year, so that we can have an idea of this additional incentive that he has given to the mining companies as to how it is going to help us in the coming years. Because I think it is not appropriate for us to give more incentives yet we haven't yet started seeing the benefits. With these few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable member for Sikongo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add a voice to the motion on the floor of the House. From the onset, I would like to state that I support the motion presented to the floor of this House by the Minister of Finance, Honorable Stumbeko Msokotwani, and that indeed this budget is a budget that is inspirational.
There's a point of order by Honorable Member for Zambezi East.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to sincerely apologize to the Honorable Member of Sikongo for disturbing his line of thought by this point of order which I'm about to raise. And I sincerely thank you for according me the opportunity to raise this point of order. I rarely rise on such points of order which will eventually see somebody being questioned for their behavior. Mr. Speaker, I rise on the premise of Standing Order number 203, conduct of members. In particular, I quote, 1, a member shall at all times conduct himself or herself in a manner that upholds the dignity, integrity, and decorum of the House. 2, a member shall not act in a manner that brings the House or other members generally into disrepute. End of quote. Mr. Speaker, while I was seated here, I came to realize that the honorable member who moved the motion, the private member's motion, which we just debated a while ago, which was defeated on the floor of this House, whilst acting in the situation that you saw here, took time to go to his Facebook page and post a ruling which is not what has happened on the floor of this House. And I have evidence here with me showing on his Facebook page, stating clearly here in green and black that the Speaker declared so DCs have no jobs. This particular text has been read by people world over, insinuating that the question that was posed by you, Mr. Speaker, on the floor of the House, in which you rightfully called that a division had been declared and a vote has been cast here, which defeated the motion, is now something contrary to what has gone out into social media. So every Zambian and many other people will believe that that question has actually been resolved in the affirmative. Is the member in order to mislead the whole nation using social media, which is so quick, on a matter which is so serious, bringing this House into disrepute? I need your serious ruling. I'll lay this on the table. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I reserve my ruling on this matter. The ruling shall be rendered at a later date. Thank you. May the member continue.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I was saying that the speech that was presented to the floor of this House by the Minister of Finance is a speech that is highly inspirational and full of hope to the Zambian people. Mr. Speaker, a national speech is meant to enhance socio-economic development for the entire country in general and the specific areas in particular. And in this case, I'm referring to constituencies. So for me, the speech that was presented to the floor of the House here, I would call it inspirational if it speaks to the aspirations and the needs of the people of Congo constituency in particular. Mr. Speaker, in his speech to the floor of this House, the minister first started by talking about last year's budget and how it was a budget that was meant to stabilize the economy of this nation. And I think there is no objection to the fact that that objective was achieved. When you look at the economic fundamentals that we have now, given what we inherited from the PF, it is clear that the European administration is on the right track. As we speak, we know that this country now, our kwacha has stabilized to around 15 kwacha per dollar from something like 23 kwacha. We're talking about inflation from 26 now to about 9.8. We are talking about interest rates have started reducing. Prices in the shops have started reducing. Investor confidence is high. We are seeing so many people who would want to come to this country and invest. So I think the foundation for growth now has been enhanced. And therefore, when you look at the 2023 budget, to me it is a growth budget that is now giving us an opportunity to grow this economy to greater heights. But, Mr. Speaker, in my maiden speech to this August House, I mentioned that Congo is one of the least developed constituencies in this country. However, I pointed to the fact that the people of Congo are so hopeful in the new Dawn administration that they also are going to see themselves as part and parcel of this country, because the previous administrations have neglected Congo so much to a point where almost everything is not there. But today, as we speak, in Congo, we have got so many things to point to. Barely 1 year of the European administration in office. We are talking about the CDF, which has given us so much to do. Right now in Congo, we can talk about rural health centers that we are constructing, health posts, police posts that we are constructing, mortuaries that we are constructing. So I think all these things point to the fact